Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Three Things About the Browns. I'm Stephanie Haney, in for Jim Donovan. We have our three sports anchor, Nick Camino.
It's great to be here. Always, especially not on a Victory Monday, a Victory Friday. This is a little bit different. I think we're going to get a little more excited here.
I think so, too. I mean, does it get any better than being a Friday and a Victory Friday?
You know, I like it that I like that the game is in the books. And now you can kind of enjoy the Sunday. There's going to be a lot of NFL football. We don't got to worry too much about the Browns. They got the win. They're going to use this as a mini bye. They played well, considering the circumstances. They got the W, and now you get ready for Pittsburgh.
That's true. Ready to enjoy a Sunday after a couple of not-so-enjoyable Sundays.
That's right.
All right, let's get to the rapid-fire questions for
Okay.
you, Mr. Nick Camino. I think the number one hero from yesterday, everyone can probably agree, is Ernest Johnson. Let's hear a little bit about that backstory.
I mean, what a story he is. I mean, this is a guy who was out fishing and he was trying to get a job. And I mean, this is, to me, the cool stories in the NFL. I mean, you know, obviously we give a lot of love to Odell Beckham Jr. and Baker Mayfield and all the popular players in the NFL. We talk a lot about Tom Brady, but these are the types of stories that we like to see. I mean, it's a guy making the most of an opportunity, and he played well. I mean, I think the offensive line deserves a lot of credit, and that's not to take anything away from Ernest Johnson, but I thought the guys up front blocked really well for him. But think about it. No Nick Chubb, no Kareem Hunt. This guy is just thrown in there. He's the third string back. You're running him and Demetric Felton, who's really your fourth string back, and they just had a ton of success. So it was great to see him thrive in that situation. Brown's got a good one, and for him, on a personal note, hopefully it's here in Cleveland, but somewhere, this guy made himself some money last night, which is great. I mean, it's a great story.
Oh my gosh, he's just been flying under the radar up until this point, and his reaction when LeBron James tweeted about him, so pure.
That was like how you and me would react. I was like, wow, LeBron's tweeting about it? That's pretty cool. I mean, that was cool. We know LeBron now, who used to be a Cowboys fan, now is suddenly a Browns fan again, which is, now he's a Browns fan, which is kind of different, cool, whatever. I guess we'll embrace that.
We'll take it.
And it was cool that he was following him and he gave him a shout out.
All right, you talk about those superstars. Let's talk about Myles Garrett, who, by the way, drug tested randomly again. He's got a new theory about it. He thinks the NFL is now trying to clone him.
Is that right? Is that right? I mean, these things are random. That's what they say. But yeah, I mean, he's a guy who is a specimen unlike anything I've ever seen. I mean, he's got the body of a Greek god. Sometimes these things happen. I know, being familiar, very familiar with Major League Baseball and how they do their testing and things like that. It's interesting that you would do it the day after. I think they sent him a text, at 8 a.m. This is, you got to do this by noon. It's pretty wild what they're doing, but I don't know that they're trying to clone him. But if there was a guy that you would want to clone, I think it would be him, because again, he is just like a total freak when it comes to the way that he is built, and I say that in the most endearing way. That's pretty cool.
Absolutely. I mean, 3 out of the last 4 weeks, I don't know, random. We'll let you decide. We're just here to report the facts. But also, so let's talk about what some of his complaints were. He said he was getting hold, and I'm just wondering, is he being held to a different standard because he is of such incredible caliber?
I think they were likening it to the Shaq LeBron theory, when they get fouled in the lane, and you don't see it as much because they're so strong and they're so big. You don't see it affecting them. That's kind of how it is. An NFL ref told me a long time ago, not a ref, it was an NFL official, said there's holding on every play. I mean, you could call this like on every play. So is he held to a different standard? I don't know. I mean, he was obviously frustrated about some things, but I think for the most part, they're calling it fair on him, but he probably feels certain things should be called differently too. So I think those things even out as the season goes on.
Sure. Well, he got another sack and a half yesterday.
Just don't let him know I said that. I don't need him coming after me.
Yeah. If you're watching this, Myles Garrett, hopefully you just turn the volume down for that last
part. Don't get upset.
All right, let's talk about the quarterback situation, though. I want to hear what we think about Case Keenum's performance, and also looking forward to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now we know Baker Mayfield has a fracture in that non-throwing shoulder.
Yeah.
What do we want there? Do we want Case Keenum, knowing what we've seen from him this week, or would we rather have a maybe not 100% Baker Mayfield?
That's a great question for Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry. No, I'm not punting on it. Listen, I think that Case Keenum did his job. I mean, this is a backup quarterback who's making $6 million. This is what he's paid to do. And he did it pretty well last night. Do I think he hung onto the ball a little bit long? Yeah. Do I think he doesn't have the arm strength of Baker Mayfield? Yeah. But he's got some nice touch. There's familiarity with the offense. You can tell him and Kevin Stefanski are completely on the same page. Mm-hmm. I mean, going back to their Minnesota days and then what we saw last night. So I like that. The thing about Baker, you got to see what's going to happen here with this. It's because they're saying a lot of it comes down to pain management, but you don't want to see Stephanie him get hurt even more. Then all of a sudden another guy lands on him and that shoulder keeps popping out over and over again. You got to be careful here. I mean, that's a big investment that you have in Baker, especially if he's going to be a guy that you pay down the road. So we'll kind of see how that plays out. The good news is it seems like you do have a serviceable backup, a guy you can beat. My only caveat there is I don't think the Denver Broncos are very good. They've lost 4 in a row.
Right.
Vic Fangio is their coach. He's probably going to get fired at some point, not now or not this week, but it's coming soon, I think, because they're not very good. They had no business probably losing to a Browns team that was pretty beat up last night. My point in saying that is, Pittsburgh, New England on the road. These are tougher games. I mean, Cincinnati looks like they're legit. So you beat the Broncos last night. I don't think the Broncos are very good, though. I mean, credit to the Browns. Resilient bunch. They did, but that was a game you should win. I think things are going to get tougher here. So the sooner you could get Baker back, the better, because he's a better option than Case Keenum.
Right. Well, and you talk about how important the money is for Baker. This is a big year for Baker in terms of what he's going to get paid, what his future is with the Browns. Before we go here, though, let's talk a little bit more about money, because can we just take a moment to celebrate the man who bet on the Browns?
Who is this guy?
Broncos,
why couldn't he give us this tip?
$1.3 million.
How about that?
On that parlay bet.
A parlay. It was a crazy parlay. I saw there were some NBA games mixed in there. Mm-hmm. It's so random, the teams that you see in this. Like there was like a college football game. There was some NBA games. And it's crazy. I will say this. It's an amazing story, what that guy was able to do, making a lot of money for himself. There were people saying, should he hedge and things like that.
Yeah.
I will say this. There is a convenient way for these sports books to show us that, hey, we have so-and-so that won a parlay. Do you know how many of these parlays that we don't hear about that they're just cashing in on? I mean, this guy made $1.3 million, which is great. But a lot of these companies, they're like, hey, so-and-so has a chance to win $1.3 million. Like, take a look at this. See, you can win too. And nobody's winning these. Nobody.
If only you have the 30 grand to put down for the original bet.
Well, that's a lot of money.
I like to think if I had 30 grand.
Well, that's what you get paid for this segment, right?
Absolutely. So we're going to put that down on the Browns. We're going to parlay that.
I like that.
And maybe we'll be back next week. Maybe
put it on the Cavs tonight. It's their home opener. All right?
Yes. All right. Nick, thank you so much for joining us for 3 Things to Know About the Browns. We will be back, not next week, but very soon when the Browns take on the Steelers.
Mini-bye. We're taking a mini-bye.
Mini-bye. Yeah. We'll be back October 31st. Thanks, everybody.